Listen, can you hear it? The spirits are speaking through the rush of sacred rivers, the divine presence in the ancient baobab that has witnessed generations come and go. The whispers carried on the wind through tall grass. In Ghana, when an elder pours libation onto the earth and calls Asuotano, they are not merely reciting names. They are awakening powers that have shaped West African spirituality for centuries. These are the Abosom, the divine intermediaries of the Akan people. Neither gods nor mere spirits, but something altogether more complex and profound. They stand between humanity and Nyame, the supreme being, carrying prayers upward and blessings downward. Today, we journey into one of Africa's most sophisticated and misunderstood spiritual systems, one that has survived centuries of colonial suppression, thrived in new forms across the Atlantic, and continues to guide millions in their quest for harmony with the seen and unseen worlds. Welcome to the realm of the Abosom. Before we can understand the Abosom, we must first place them within the larger Akan spiritual cosmos. The Akan, a meta-ethnic group including the Asante, Fante, Akwapem, Akiem and others across Ghana and Eastern Côte d'Ivoire, envision a multi-layered universe. At its pinnacle sits Nyame, the supreme creator, transcendent and ultimate. Below Nyame, yet above humanity, exists the Abosom. The term Abosom, singular bosom, comes from Akan words meaning stone and to hit, evoking their role as solid anchors that connect realms of existence, though often mistranslated as lesser gods or nature deities. These labels fail to capture their essence. An Akan elder might explain it this way. If Nyame is the great king, the Abosom are his ministers and messengers. They handle the daily affairs of the kingdom, while the king maintains the cosmic order. This understanding reveals the sophisticated theological thinking that underpins Akan spirituality. The Abosom aren't competitors with the supreme being, but extensions of divine presence, making the transcendent accessible to human experience. And there are hundreds of them, each with unique personalities, domains of influence, taboos, and preferences. Some are ancient, emerging from the very beginning of creation. Others arose during historical events or from the deification of extraordinary ancestors. Together, they form a divine community, reflecting the diversity of creation itself. The Akan organize the Abosom into distinct categories, each representing different aspects of the universe and human experience. Perhaps the most revered are the Tete Abosom, the ancient ones who emerged directly from Nyame at the dawn of creation. These include primal forces like Asase Ya, Earth, Bosom Twe, a sacred lake, and Tano, associated with the Tano River. When Asante King Osetutu unified his people in the 17th century, he was guided by Okomfo Anokie, a powerful priest who commanded the Tete Abosom to bring down the golden stool from the heavens, a divine seat embodying the soul of the Asante nation that exists to this day. Then there are the Abosom, who dwell in natural features, rivers, mountains, unusual rock formations, ancient trees, and sacred groves. Each geographical region has its own local Abosom, who protects territories and communities. The Saman Abosom represent deified ancestors whose extraordinary lives elevated them beyond mere ancestral spirits. These include cultural heroes, founders of clans, exceptionally powerful priests, and others whose influence continued beyond death. Some Abosom are associated with human activities: Abosom of healing, blacksmithing, weaving, warfare, childbirth, and other essential practices. These divine specialists watch over practitioners of various crafts and skills. What connects all these diverse Abosoms is their mediating function, Humans rarely approach Nyame directly. Instead, they work through appropriate Abosom, who can carry concerns to the Supreme Being while bringing divine blessings back to Earth. This system reflects the Akan social structure, where one approaches a chief through linguists and court officials rather than directly. As the Akan proverb states, "No one goes to the king empty-handed," meaning both that one brings gifts to intermediaries and that intermediaries ensure one's concerns are properly presented. Among the most powerful and widespread Abosom are those associated with rivers, especially the mighty Tano. Flowing from the highlands of Ghana, the Tano River has nurtured Akan communities for centuries. But for the Akan, it is far more than a water source. It is the physical manifestation of a divine presence. Tano Bosom, one of the eldest children of Nyame. Tano and other river Abosom are considered particularly efficacious, able to cleanse both physically and spiritually, to heal ailments, to provide fertility, and to offer protection. Their flowing nature symbolizes their ability to move between worlds, carrying away impurities and bringing fresh blessings. Throughout Akan territories, shrines to Tano and the other river Abosom dot the landscape. At these sacred sites, priests and priestesses, known as Akomfo, serve as human vessels through which the Abosom communicate. One famous account from the 18th century tells of how Tano Bosom guided the Akan people during a time of warfare, speaking through a priestess who entered a trance state. "Go not by the main path, but follow the river upstream until you see 3 white birds. There, make your camp." Those who heeded this advice survived an ambush that decimated others. The river Abosom demonstrates another key aspect of Akan theology: the lived, immediate presence of the divine in the natural world. These aren't distant forces requiring elaborate theological frameworks to understand. They are as real and present as the waters that sustain life itself. Serving the Abosom, priests and shrines. How do the Akan interact with these divine intermediaries? Through a sophisticated system of priesthood, divination, and shrine worship that has evolved over centuries. The Akomfo, priests and priestesses of the Abosom, undergo rigorous training after being called to service, often through illness, dreams, or unusual occurrences. This calling is rarely sought and frequently resisted initially, as service to the Abosom demands significant sacrifices. Once their training is complete, Akomfo become living bridges between human and divine realms. During ceremonies, they may enter possessed states where the Abosom temporarily inhabit their bodies, speaking directly to the community through the priest's voice, offering guidance, healing, and prophecy. Akan shrine complexes can be elaborate affairs, with multiple structures housing different Abosom, sacred objects, and ritual spaces. The most important is the Bosom Fai, literally deity house, where the physical representation of the bosom resides. These representations are not idols to be worshipped, but vessels through which divine presence can be focused. Often a stone, carved figure, or natural object that has been ritually consecrated. The power isn't in the object itself, but in the spiritual presence it anchors. Shrines follow strict protocols regarding purification, taboos, offerings, and ceremonial timing. Some Abosom refuse certain foods or colors. Others require specific days for their worship. Some can only be approached by certain individuals or after particular purification rites. This complexity reflects the Akan understanding that the divine realm, like human society, operates according to established protocols and hierarchies. Approaching the Abosom requires knowledge, respect, and proper procedure. A spiritual etiquette as elaborate as the famous Akan court etiquette. As one priestess explained, we don't worship the stone or the river. We honor what flows through them, like respecting a chief's linguist, not for himself, but for the words of the chief he carries. Abosom and divination. The Abosom know what is hidden, goes a traditional saying, and through various divination systems, they share this knowledge with humanity. Akan divination practices are sophisticated methods for accessing divine wisdom about past, present, and future events. They represent structured conversations with the Abosom rather than mere fortune-telling. The Akan employ different divination methods depending on their training and which Abosom they serve. Some cast cowrie shells, reading patterns in how they fall. Others use nuts, bones, or specially carved divination boards. One distinctive Akan practice is liquid divination, observing patterns formed in water, palm oil, or other liquids within special vessels. The diviner enters a meditative state, allowing the serving Abosom to reveal images and messages in the fluid's movements. What makes Akan divination unique is its interactive nature. It's not simply about receiving information, but engaging in dialogue with divine forces. The diviner asks questions, interprets responses, asks follow-up questions, and works collaboratively with both the client and Abosom to address the situation. This system demonstrates the Akan view that human problems require both spiritual insight and practical action. Divination typically concludes with prescribed rituals, behavioral changes, or community interventions. Divine wisdom translated into concrete steps. As one elder put it, the Abosom show the path, but your feet must walk it.